2, GoTV Channel 28, Topsa Channel 5, Parliament Radio and the National Assembly of Zambia Facebook and YouTube pages. Parliament TV, bringing Parliament closer to you.
Thank you so much for joining us on Parliament Television and Parliament Radio. The countdown is on. Remember, this is the countdown to the official opening of the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly by the Republican President, Ms. Hakainde Hichilema. My name is Paul Tindovi, and the rehearsals were done yesterday. It was 3 days intensive rehearsals here at Parliament grounds in preparation for tomorrow's official opening. The expectations are very high from various stakeholders, and today we want to look at the education sector. How has the education sector fared from the time the New Dawn government took office in 2021, and also refer to some of the major pronouncements that the Republican President made in the previous address. My guest on today's program, I do have Mr. Andrew Tayengwa, Member of Parliament for Kabwata constituency. Honorable, thank you so much for finding time and to be with us on the countdown to the official opening of the National Assembly of Zambia.
Yeah, thank you very much, Person.
How's Kabwata constituency?
Well, Kabwata is okay. We are busy working in the community, ensuring that we give the people what they actually voted us for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you ready for tomorrow?
Yes, of course we are ready. We expect actually His Excellency to come and issue major policy statement, especially in terms of the education sector. We expect him to give keynote policy speech that will speak to the infrastructure development and also probably the recruitment of more teachers in the education sector, and also probably the improvement of the ICT technologies in schools.
And on my far left, I do have that's Mr. Victor Muyumba, who is Executive President from the National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPEZ in short. The President with the small letter P.
Small P, percent.
How is NUPEZ doing?
Thank you so much. NUPEZ is doing fine, and I think we are already in the field trying to bring teachers to speed with a number of developments that are taking place.
Okay.
Even some of the things that are being done between the unions and also government that are meant to ameliorate some of the challenges that they are facing.
All right, so this is an interactive program. All I can just urge you is to be on your phone. You could also go to your Facebook page, that's the National Assembly of Zambia, and feel free to send in your text message. And let's share your expectations with the people that are watching and listening. The number that we are using, if you wish to be part and parcel of this interesting conversation, is 0978 772801. That's 0978 2801. My sign language interpreter for this morning, I do have Jason Manda. Maybe I'll start with the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kabwata constituency.
Yes, Member.
How significant is this day, which we are all looking forward to tomorrow?
I think tomorrow's day is an important day for every Zambian, especially to those who are in the education sector, because we expect the President to make major policy announcement or pronouncements tomorrow. And these pronouncements basically will speak to the education sector when it comes to the infrastructure development. We expect him also probably to talk about the issues of how he's going to improve the ICT infrastructure in our schools, and we also expect him to speak to major issues to deal with the pupil-teacher ratio in the country. We do appreciate with what we've seen in the past, where 30,000 teachers were employed. We saw another 2,000, 4,000 being added to the national block in terms of recruitment. So we expect more teachers, because as it is right now, we still have a challenge with teacher-pupil ratio in our schools, not only in Lusaka, but also in rural areas. So we expect the President to make those pronouncements tomorrow.
Mr. Muyomba, I know you've been following what the new Dawn government has been up to in the education sector, and maybe what are some of major successes or challenges that you think the UPND government has faced in the 4 years they've run this country?
Thank you so much. We have from time to time said that if there is a sector that the UPND government has scored unquestionably clear is the education sector. Some of the achievements that they have done in 4 years are achievements that no government in their stay in office have managed to do.
Okay.
For example, the recruitment of 45,000 teachers so far. More than 45,000, the number they recruited in 4 years, 45,000. At some point, just at once, they recruited 30,000. That was unprecedented. A ripple effect in terms of poverty alleviation. If you have got a teacher who is not employed and is given this opportunity to be employed, then they have a source of income. A family that is struggling to keep 5 members, then they will share. Now that you are employed, you can as well get a sibling or 2. And by so doing, you find that it becomes easier for people to make ends meet. Other than that, we have seen the issue of free education policy has brought children to school, back to school, about 2 million of them. These are children whose future would have been bleak had this free education not been introduced. So the children are back in school and they have got this list of hope. They can now dream of becoming whatever they have wanted to be in life. Business people, lawyers, journalists, accountants, economists, whatever they would want to be. And that is how we think every government should be in terms of care for the people. Now, there's some free education. We're talking about millions. Let me quickly probably talk about the successes and the challenges that this may have brought to the fore.
Okay, we'll get to the challenges and successes a little later, but let's briefly, maybe you can talk about some of the things that you've noted in the education sector that the new Dawn government has been up to this far.
Yes, so apart from the ones that we have talked about, we've seen that, for example, the issue of not having enough desks in classrooms. Yeah, the president at some point had to give a policy direction and an ultimatum. By December 2023, that was in 2023, I don't want to hear that we have children sitting on the floor. And the Minister of Education, helter-skelterly started procuring desks. And these desks were not procured outside the country, within, made by our own people. And I think they have procured to the tune of about 1.4 million desks. And we are not saying this challenge has been completely eliminated. This is still there, but at least we have got to a very large extent some decent and conducive learning environment that is being created for our children.
Okay, all right. Long ago, could it be sometime mid last year, we did tour your constituents and just to appreciate some of the developmental projects that were taking shape in your constituents. And what really struck my interest was the issue to do with education. And we saw quite a number of pupils in one classroom sharing a desk which is meant for 3 pupils at the max. 4 or 5 people were sharing. But how is the situation at this particular time? I bring in this because of what Mr. Muyomba said about the issue to do with the directive that came from the Republican president of purchasing desks using CDF.
Person, I'm actually happy that the praises of what UPND has done are actually coming from citizens like my brother here, and this is commendable because they're able to see what we've done with, especially in our constituencies with the Constituency Development Fund. Yes, the last time when we toured different school infrastructures in our constituency, we had seen the challenge of how pupils were overcrowded, how pupils were sitting one pupils sitting on that desk. But today, as I'm speaking, most of the schools that we have around in our constituency, we've managed to actually procure over 5,000 school desks, which we've shared them within the constituency. Of course, we are not saying that we've managed to sort out that challenge, because the levels of recruitment or the levels of enrollment of pupils keeps on going up. Like my brother had indicated from the past, what he said is that the time the New York Dawn government came in, we saw that most of the pupils that were recruited or enrolled, taken back to school, the numbers were over 2 million, 2.5 million or so. As a result of that, we've still continues to see high enrollment of pupils. So we are trying as leaders, civic leaders in our constituencies, on how best we can improve by providing the quality education that our children deserve to have. In terms of providing classroom space, we've actually worked on that. Most schools in our constituencies have actually received brand new classroom blocks. You can go to Lusakasa and see for yourself and how the schools are looking. We've managed to construct over 21 1x3, 1x4 classroom blocks within our constituency. And of course, we give credit to His Excellency for giving us a huge number of teachers that actually were recruited. Most of them, they're in our constituencies. We do not have serious challenges when it comes to pupil-teacher ratios, but of course we still have some gray areas where we feel we need to work on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Last year you were in the House when the President came to address Parliament, and we saw you debating the presidential address. What really stood out for you in his address last year, and where are we in terms of implementing what the President talked about in that address?
I think the pronouncement that was made by His Excellency the President on the infrastructure development, I think that's what actually hit me most, because we have seen that we have actually fulfilled that pronouncement. If you go around the constituency today, you see how beautiful infrastructure for our kids, how we've managed to do them. We've built some of the best infrastructures in Kawata constituency, and we do not have that challenge. Then the other thing that hit me was the issue of the recruitment of teachers. I think we still see that this government is committed in terms of providing the quality education. Yes, the policy of free education to our learners, our pupils in our schools is actually working on well. But also as leaders, as civic leaders, what we need to do is to ensure that the free education that has been given to our children needs to come with quality education. And we are actually doing the same, ensuring that the new classroom blocks are built for our children. We have managed to construct labs for different schools. We are trying now by all means. Now we can build infrastructure for ICT in various schools within our constituency.
The number that we are using if you wish to take part on today's program, this is the countdown to the official opening of the 5th session of the 13th Assembly, is 0978 772801, 0978 772801. Better still, you can also go to your Facebook page, the National Assembly of Zambia, like that page, and let's hear your concern or what you'd want to contribute on this same platform. And also, you can share with us your expectations in this year's address that is yet to be addressed by the Republican President. Before I get to you, Mr. Muyumba, let's get to our screens and read some 3 messages that we have received this far. The number is 0978 772801. We have the first message, and this one is coming from Chifu in Indola. We are proud of Parliament TV because you have broadcast developmental programs. We are watching in Chifu. Thank you so much, and I would like to urge you to be with us tomorrow as the President addresses Parliament and the nation. George from Shibichpata there. Good topic. My hope is that the President will address the improvement of education infrastructure in rural areas. Let's see the last text message for now. That's a wonderful topic because education is the key. So we are requesting for the government to employ other teachers employ other teachers more, especially in rural areas. Thank you. It's coming from Wilson. Wilson, thank you so much. Sending text messages. It's 0972 0801 if you wish to be part and parcel of today's countdown. Mr. Muyumba, would you want to recommend to comment on any of those text messages before I bring you in with it on reforms? Because I want you to briefly talk about the reforms that we want to see in the education sector.
Yes, I agree with the people that have sent the messages, and of course Parliament TV is doing a good job, as well as asking the President that the foot should not be removed from the period of employing teachers. More teachers must be recruited, especially in the rural areas, because we still have that need. We need teachers in the rural areas. However, the issue of infrastructure, remember there's an aspect of infrastructure development, especially in the rural areas as well, should include the component of housing units for teachers, because these need to be retained. And our proposal to the government has been, yes, CDF is doing a good job, but it needs to be complemented with a certain policy that will border on PPP, public-private partnership, not with outsiders, with Zambian businessmen and women. These persons are able to construct simple but decent housing units for public service employees in the rural areas, especially the teachers, so that government can agree with them. We are going to give you your monies, your rentals, straight from government coffers to you. And then after you have recouped your money, your profit, you leave these houses for government, so that government now takes ownership. And that is what we need to see going forward. You will see person that most of these people that are in urban areas may want to migrate, because they know life is cheaper in the rural area. And if I've got a house, I'm well accommodated, there's even a solar, they have everything that it takes for me to have a decent life, then I would rather stay there than here, where I experience some high cost of living and all that. That is going to be progressive for this country. And as well, these businessmen and women will be empowered in one way or another, because they would have found business with government. And government as well would have eliminated the challenge of lack of accommodation for the workers in the rural areas. Apart from that, you remember, a teacher is a role model, and a role model must inspire. How else can you inspire a child when you are in a ramshackle? You are staying in something that looks like a chicken run. You need to come from where children can say, wow, let me also work hard at school, so that someday I can stay in a house just like this one. I can be listening to the music that this man listens to every Sunday or Saturday. You know, they start dreaming.
I love the example, the perfect example that you're giving, Mr. Muyumba.
Let me just actually comment on the last SMS that was sent. I totally agree with the one who sent that message. We need to see more teachers actually going employed to go and work in the rural areas. But I think what we really need to understand the challenge is that we have had so many teachers that have been employed in the rural areas. I think the challenge has been the issues to do with infrastructure development, issues to do with ICT infrastructures. Because I believe that if you were to send a young lady or a young man who is about 24 years or 25 years in the rural areas, they would want to have the facilities like DSTV. They wouldn't want to have go to a place where they will have internet challenges. So these are some of the issues that we need to take and consider when we are taking our young members.
On the same front, do you really think the policy, or should I say the pronouncements that were made, that if you are a couple and your wife works in Ngawa, or maybe let's say in Mongo, or Sesheke, and your husband is in Lusaka, she's a teacher, and there are those pronouncements where they're saying you really need to reunite as a couple to strengthen family ties. Do you think it's working in reverse in terms of having teachers sent in rural areas? Because I'll apply because I'm looking for a job. The next moment, 3-4 months down the line, my husband is in Lusaka. I want to relocate to Lusaka and be with my husband or be with my wife.
You see, that pronouncement that was made by the head of state, it's of course we've seen some major improvement they've tried to implement, but we have also been faced with serious challenges in terms of implementing that pronouncement that was made by the head of state. Of course, I had a discussion with the PS, Technical Services and Administration, Minister of Education. They did actually tell me the challenges that have been facing for them to implement that pronouncement, because if they were to do it outright like that, it would actually create some serious challenges. But I understand that most of the people that were employed, especially in government, and they are married and want to be reunited with their spouses. I understand the time frame that has been given is about 4 years first to work in the rural areas. But otherwise, I think the pronouncement was good, but it is faced with serious challenges. We cannot say that we've managed to implement that pronouncement 100%, but we are actually on course ensuring that this pronouncement is actually
I would want
fulfilled.
Mr. Muyumba to comment on that, because you're working with these teachers, and I'm sure you've seen quite a number of people applying and making indications that they want to be in Lusaka, and where you find a situation whereby Kabwata will have a lot of teachers than my school in Muchinga province, in Chief Muyombe there. But before you respond, let's get to our Facebook message. Just acknowledge the people that are following us through on the National Assembly of Zambia Facebook page, and the first one comes from the Voice of Kalomo Community Radio Station, and saying, what time is the official opening of Parliament tomorrow? All right, that one I can answer for you. The President will be here at Parliament grounds tomorrow at 10 hours, but we do have quite a number of activities that will be going live, and Parliament Radio and Parliament Television will take you through from 08 hours through the time the President arrives, and afterwards we'll continue broadcasting. The other one reads, good morning, Honorable. I'm expecting you and His Excellency to talk about cost of living, electricity, and building some special government buildings in Mpulungu Port and other parts of the country. But to my surprise, we have been just hearing the same songs. Thank you so much. Good morning, Honorable. I'm expecting you, and okay, it's the same text message. Clive Rositwala, watching from Senanga. Clive, thank you so much, all the way from Senanga. Timayo Piri, you're writing, watching us from Timayo Village, Mwanza, in Lundazi district. The other one is Kalava Osi Oscar. You are watching us from Lufwanyama district on the Copper Belt. Maybe a quick comment before we get to our SMS facility, Mr. Muyumba. The issue of teachers wanting to be in urban areas, neglecting the rural area.
Okay, the issues of reuniting couples, yes. And I think the pronouncement was made in good faith by the President, because, you know, a country is made up of families. And if families are intact, it means the country is intact. And that is how it's supposed to be when it comes to family values. So this issue of a husband in one area and a wife in another area has not helped us over the years. So that's why we are saying the pronouncement was made in good faith. However, the people that are charged with the responsibility of managing human resource are also careful. The challenge has been twofold. Where I'm a teacher, I'm in Lusaka, a husband, and my wife is a teacher as well, and is in Lavushimanda. When I apply to have my wife come here, and I'm told, no, we have a lot of teachers in Lusaka. It's better you, who is in Lusaka, go to Lavushimanda. Then I'm like, oh, why should I go to Lavushimanda? Remember, the issue is reuniting couples, not to bring couples to urban area. So whichever way, wherever they are reunited, they would have been reunited. So you find that here is a husband who is refusing to go to Lavushimanda. No, I can't go to Lavushimanda. I would rather remain in Lusaka. Have you seen? The policy is good, but it is facing hurdles or hitches by or from the same people it is intended to, benefit. So there is that challenge. I may be a businessman. Some of these reasons are understandable. I'm a businessman in Lusaka. My business is thriving. My wife is in Chama, and she wants to join me because the business I'm doing, I can't do it in Chama. I can only do it here. And then I'm told, no, we have more teachers in Chama. Maybe you have to wait until such a time when we can do some stuff balancing and all that. Or you find someone who is willing to go to Chama, you exchange, you come to Lusaka, and all that. This is how this issue has been ongoing, but we pray that ultimately couples, especially the first example I gave where you are in the same industry and you can live together regardless of where you are, I think that is important, to get together. Rural areas too, offer a lot of opportunities. Land acquisition, large pieces of land, where you can even start preparing for retirement together as a family, and not where you are squeezed in Lusaka, failing to get even a 20 by 20 because you are told in Lusaka we don't have land. We need to think of tomorrow. We need to be foresighted and not short-sighted. We need to envision what we want to be in the next 20 years.
Okay, earlier on I did ask you a question regarding reforms. I know the President will be here tomorrow and make those major pronouncements that will set the tone for 2026. What kind of reforms would you want to see in the education sector? Because you've been in this sector for a while now.
Thank you. Firstly, we know that there is a revised curriculum that is being implemented right now, which is actually commendable. We are migrating persons from an outcome-based kind of education to competence-based kind of education, so that children are able to apply in real life what they learn at school. We are emphasizing on not only values and knowledge, but also skill acquisition. Now, for a child to acquire skills, they need to be empowered. They need to have the tools. They need to have the equipment. Because at the end of the day, it should be about migrating from theoretical kind of learning to practical or hands-on kind of learning. And right now, that is the challenge we have in most of the schools. We don't have the tools, we don't have the equipment. So we hope, even as the President is making these pronouncements, we will have this policy framework that will border on the curriculum that is being implemented now is actualized in terms of having equipment in schools. If I'm doing carpentry, I should not be told, okay, draw a hammer on the board. Then the teacher says, okay, this is how a hammer looks. This is how a nail looks on the board. No, I need to know the inches of the types of nails that I need to use, and they need to be there. I need to know this is a hammer. I need to know, okay, this is a clamp stand, and this is how a clamp stand is used, so that even the same desks that we are talking about in a few years to come are not made by any other group of people but our own learners in schools, because they would have acquired the skill. There are schools that have been opened up. Even in the Honorable's constituency, I know there are schools that have been built but not yet established in terms of positions, and they have been opened up to the public. Children are accessing education there. Teachers have been taken there, but all the teachers, including the head teacher, are getting paid from other stations. So our plea is that the President must direct that we know that it's not possible to have everything done at once, but the process must start starting 2026, that these schools that haven't been given the establishment are given the establishment starting 2026, so that we can open up and also help these people that have been acting indefinitely be promoted or substantively appointed.
Before I get to the Honourable Member of Parliament for Kawata constituency, just to comment or add to what you've just highlighted, let's get to the SMS facility and see who has sent a message and from where. Remember, you can share with us your expectation regarding the President's address tomorrow when he officially opens the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly. The number that we are using is 0978 772 801. Let's see who has sent what on our SMS facility this morning. And this one comes from Sichifulo, saying you have done your promise to the people of Zambia. Go ahead. Thank you so much, Gracious. And the issues of confirmations, appointments, upgrading, and promotions of some teachers who would have improved their academic qualification, who would have improved their qualification, seem to continue discouraging? Okay, they're talking about people that go to upgrade their qualifications. And
I think I may say something later.
Just before, let's allow the area member of parliament, maybe before you come in with what you wanted to add, you can maybe respond to the concerns from our viewers and listeners.
Let me just add to what my brother has said in terms of reforms. If you look at the free education, I believe that I think there's need for government now. I expect the president tomorrow to actually come up with a deliberate policy when it comes to recruitment, enrollment of pupils. If you have seen for over the number of years that have passed, a girl child has actually been promoted a lot. We have seen even in terms of the scoring of high grades, the ones that are coming up with 6 points, the girls, a boy child has actually been dumped and left behind. If you go to places where people are complaining about the issues of junkies, these are young boys that have actually been left behind in terms of education. So we expect that the president will actually speak to the education sector, come up with a deliberate policy that will help the boy child to be given opportunities that have been given to the girl child. Okay. That's what I expect also the president, because in the last 10 years or so, we've seen how Zambia has actually suffered in terms of the spirit of junkism. Go to Kitwe, go to Chingola, go to any other place, you hear some of these young boys who are supposed to be in schools, how they have joined these groups of gangsters. Go to Matero, they have even named their groups like Bloodthirsty Gangster Organization. So we really need to see the president mentioning some of the deliberate policies that can improve the conditions and give opportunities to a boy child who has actually been left behind.
Mr. Mayunduma, you want to comment on
yes.
People that have upgraded qualifications?
Yes. And I think the sender of that message must be a teacher, because you can tell from what he's talking about that he understands the challenge and for how long it has been there, and it can as well be discouraging as described. But I think I would like to warm the heart of the sender of the message that we are making progress on the issue of upgrades percent, and I think this is something that we are going to communicate to the teachers even before the end of October. We are making a lot of progress. It's not about government looking for money, but we are shifting money from somewhere to allocate it or to reallocate it in the area of upgrades. And right now, the number of teachers that needs to be upgraded stands at 18,000 teachers need to be upgraded. This information is already sitting with the Ministry of Education as well as partners that include unions, and we feel this is going to motivate the teachers out there. However, the issue of promotions is the one I'm talking about. It calls for the opening up of the positions in these schools, and we feel Ministry of Education through Ministry of Finance, Treasury, can quickly open up these positions for people to be promoted.
Let's get to our Facebook page. We're loving the text messages that you're sharing with us. Thank you so much, but keep sending those messages. And on our Facebook page, Whiteson Silwamba, you're sending your text message and you're saying, good morning, Honorable, I'm expecting you. And okay, this one we read it. And Clive, we read from Clive, Timayo we read. And this one, the other one comes from Granicious Sikaumba, Shockers, watching you from Nawusanga in Dundumuaze. Thank you so much. Kennedy Kaumba, you are saying, to our leaders, I want to bring to your attention a pressing issue affecting our northwestern province. As residents of Solwezi, we are concerned about the lack of university in our region. We believe that having a university would greatly benefit our community by providing access to higher education and contributing to our development we kindly request that you consider our plea and work towards establishing university in our province. And not too long ago, when the president was here last year, I'm sure he did talk about having universities in all corners. So we await what major pronouncements will be made regarding in that area, and also what plans government has regarding the construction of university. The other one coming from Teza Sichilima. Honorable, please help us. At St. Patrick area, there have been on the same schedule of ZESCO load shedding, and this is now affecting water supply. We always have no water at the floods because of the same load management. If we were having a change in the schedule, it would help. I hear ZESCO has prioritized staff college to be having electricity on the expense of residents. I mean that that is a college. Why can't we get solar or generator so that we also have a change in schedule? We'll soon start having waterborne diseases if we are not assisted. It's too much. We can't be on the same schedule for 8 months to 12 to 16 hours. Yeah, that's your concern from St. Patrick's area there. Trywell Hamatanga, looking forward to seeing, he's calling him Mr. Kwenyu HH7, workaholic president, hard work and more hard work tomorrow, delivering his speech. Mwaka Mianda Simaimbo, Honorable Andrew Tengwa, I see you, sir. Somebody's watching you. Maybe would you comment on the issue to do with the... Okay, before we go, let's combine with the text messages. Let's get few text messages. I've just been informed that we do have some text messages here. Good morning. We are enjoying your program here in Katete. What is the government stance in paying up settlement allowances for civil servants, because this has been overlooked for some time? Thank you so much. But remember, let's restrict our questions to the topic of discussion today. We're looking at the education sector, but I'm sure my panelists will be able to respond to some concerns. We hope the President will address the issue of clearing terminal leave benefits for some retirees in the education sector, which dates as far back as 2014. All right, so the other one, good topic, Parliament TV. I'm watching from Kalomo. Education is the key to success. Mavuto, all the way from Kalomo, Southern Province. Thank you so much, Mavuto, and the rest of people that have shared with us those concerns and questions and contribution. Keep sending those text messages. The number is 0978-772801. Honorable?
Yeah, person, the issue of load shedding, I think the issue that has been raised by somebody who stays within St. Patrick's area, I think it's of great concern. It's not only around that area, even the people of Kamwala, they have been crying. Just 2, 3, 4 days ago, I've been receiving a lot of phone calls concerning the issue of sewer blockages. The challenge that we have is the power supply is actually affected even the sewer pump. We are not able to receive the best in terms of feeding the pump at the sewer pump in Kamwala. So we are having a backflow. So most of the houses actually in Kamwala, they are having blockages because of the power issue. We are only having a power for almost about 2 hours, 2.5 hours in some certain areas. Other areas, they have actually complained that they receive power for about 30 minutes. It was this morning when I was listening to the PS in charge of electricity at Ministry of Energy trying to give out solutions on how best they would want to tackle the power challenge that we are facing in the country. Of course, there are some certain areas I feel like the staff college that has been talked about. They shouldn't have prioritized power to staff college. What they should have done, they should have concerted those efforts to places like pumping areas for Lusaka water and sewerage, and also probably look at other facilities like clinics, Kabata Clinic and these other clinics. So it's very difficult for me to come and start promising people on the issue of power. That's a national problem, and I believe that the Minister of Energy knows what he's doing. And I believe that even His Excellency has actually given guidelines on how best they want to end this challenge. I'm told that they've set up a task or a goal that by December they need to add about 1,000 megawatts to the national grid. What we are generating right now is about close to 1,700, and the power need for this country is over 2,700 or so. So we have this challenge, and we hope that through some certain investments that are coming in, especially in the energy sector, maybe the power deficit will be reduced by December.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, you comment on the text messages that we've read? Which we
Yes, I think there was an issue to do with terminal benefits and all that.
Settling allowance?
Yes, settling allowance. I think the Ministry of Education sends these monies directly to the districts. And I think the people in charge of districts, the district education board secretaries, must be transparent enough once they receive these monies to communicate and the procedure that they use. What kind of system are they following, so that it should be first in, first out, because you can't pay someone who probably retired a few years ago at the expense of one who retired in 2014. I saw something like 2014.
Yes.
You're talking about more than 10 years ago, which is not actually healthy, and you know, money loses value. So we need really to work around those issues, especially at district level. We know that money is sent to the districts for that.
Honorable, how are you addressing the issue to do with teacher-pupil ratio in your constituency? The President, in last year's address, he did talk about the strides that government is making in terms of addressing the teacher-pupil ratio.
I think in Kawata we are blessed. We don't have that serious challenge in terms of teacher-pupil ratio. We have a good number of teachers, but I think the challenge that we have in our constituency is the issue to do with learning space. That is the major challenge that which we have. In terms of teachers, I think we are grateful to His Excellency for giving us a good number of teachers within the constituency, especially Lusaka province. What I expect the President to talk about is the issue of probably expanding the constituency development fund, so that we can create or build more infrastructure for our children in schools, so that we can deal with that major challenge.
Let's speculate. How much would you want the President to increase the CDF to from 30?
Right now it's at 36.1 million.
How much would you, as a member of Parliament for Kawata constituency, how do you put everything in one basket, all your needs?
It would be nice to see the President if we can increase CDF to about maybe about 45 million per constituency. Then allocate a lot of resources to infrastructure development, and see how best maybe we can reduce on some of the other components on the issues of loan, because we've seen that the challenge that we're having with people that have gotten loans, they have failed to pay back. So I'd rather that loan component is taken back into the infrastructure development, so that we can provide better learning facilities for our children. That is the best way you can give children quality education. So that's what I expect.
After the introduction of free education in primary schools, we've seen a number of pupils going back to school. The people that we thought they would never get back to school. And this has come with a lot of challenges in terms of space. That's what the Honorable talked about, because he's on the ground and he appreciates what's going on. Issue to do with space. Do you think members of Parliament countrywide in all the 156 constituencies have put the constituency development fund to good use vis-a-vis in the education sector, in the expansion of classroom blocks? Because you see, now we've done a 1x3 classroom block. Maybe they're just 3, but when you look at the population and the number of pupils that go to those facilities are just quite high.
Correct, and I'd like to commend the Honorable here, because he has admitted that we still have overcrowding in some of these classrooms, and this challenge is not only in his constituency, it's across the country. Actually, in some constituencies, it may be worse than in his constituency. Yeah, so the question of whether MPs have put to good use the constituency development fund, I wouldn't really want to hold them accountable myself, because we have Ministry of Education we hold accountable. And then we would simply say Ministry of Education should simply accelerate the rate at which they are expanding the existing schools as well as building new schools. We know
I
that.
want you to speak as a union president, because you interact with these schools. You interact with data.
Do you know that the Honorable here will tell me that, in fact, I don't even sit there. So I don't even know how this constituency development fund was. It's not me who decides what should be done. There's a committee and all that.
No, I'm asking
also right now.
As a unionist.
So yeah, so as a unionist,
schools,
yes.
Are you comfortable with the number of infrastructure
No.
in the education sector?
No, we are not comfortable. And that's why we are calling upon Ministry of Education, because these should be able to do an audit. How many children do we have at a given school? And how many rooms do we have? Then what is the shortfall? So there should be this kind of planning. So if at Lusakasa, for example, which is in his constituency, there's a shortfall of about 10 classrooms, then there should be a plan by Ministry of Education to ensure that these 10 classrooms are built within a short period of time.
Now, what strategies are you putting in place to make sure that you convince the grassroots at zonal, the ward level, so at least those projects can come from ordinary Zambian and make proposals and see how it goes? Because being a union is just not interacting with schools, but you really need to get on the grassroots and interact with where decisions are coming from. Because they're coming from ordinary Zambians. They're the ones that we want this, we want that in this particular area. But in the education sector,
we were thinking the way the Honorable was thinking that I think there's an abuse to some extent of the loan facility or loan part of the CDF. So why don't we migrate the money that goes towards loans, towards infrastructure development? Because within a short period of time, we will have the kind of rooms that we want in these schools. Because we would have simply reallocated the money, moved the money from one area to another. And that one can help us.
Okay,
Well, let me also add, we, as in Kawata, what we've done is, first of all, let me appreciate the CDF, the way it is actually transforming our education sector in Kawata. Of course, we still have huge numbers of learners. Most of the schools that we have in Kawata were constructed way back in 1970s. Let me give you an example of Kamara Primary School and Lusakasa, which was constructed in 1968. Kamala Primary School was also constructed way back 1968 or 1970. The same school that was constructed in 1968 used to house about 400 learners. But today, if you go to Lusakasa, that school has over 1,600. You go to Kamala Primary School, which has close to 4,000 learners. So yes, of course, we cannot do everything at the same time, but there is already a plan, and that's the reason why you are seeing us coming up. And His Excellency, in his own wise way of thinking, he says, okay, let me try and see if I can take this CDF to the community, so that the community themselves can decide on what they can do with this money. Through the CDF and the Ward Development Committees, we're able now to see some of this infrastructure in the education sector coming up. You'll be able to see more infrastructure coming up. Of course, the numbers are still huge, and we do not have land in Lusaka to construct more secondary schools or primary schools, and that's the reason why we've opted to start now expanding the existing infrastructure that was built way back in 1970. So we're doing fine. The CDF is actually transforming our communities. We appreciate, but I think we need to do more, like my brother has said.
Let's get to the SMS facility on 0978 772-801, 0978 772-801, and I'll be able also to read some messages on our Facebook page, the National Assembly of Zambia. Let's see your text message. This one is coming from Mulawa. We thank the President and his cabinet for development. Tomorrow, please, the President should talk about new districts, especially the Mulunga. Thank you so much, Mulawa. Good morning, Honorable. We hope the issue of upgrade, this time will be given the attention it deserves. Watching you from Mukushi, and this is Hendrix. Thank you so much, Hendrix, for your text message. The other one come from MJ in Muchinga province. Good morning. We are enjoying this program to have free education. Wonderful progress. We appreciate for those text messages. It's 0978772801. The other one coming from Sequoia. Good morning. Good topic. One of the key sectors that cannot be ignored is education. Educated nation is a developed country. The president should talk more about education and motivate teachers. Thank you so much. Solomon C. Piri from Lusanka. Good morning. That is good topic. The government should employ more teachers in rural areas and infrastructure. Thanks. We are watching from Lusangazi in Eastern Province. Thank you so much. Keep sending those text messages, and let me get to my SMS. That's the Facebook page, and the other text message on this one coming from Alex Eck is saying, are you aware that in some clinics and hospitals, when someone is sick, is told to go and buy medicine from the chemistry and the pharmaceutical? What does this imply? I'm sure the president will talk about that. That's your concern, looking at what has been happening in the health sector. The other one coming from Sevenzo Banda, when is the next recruitment going to be done? The other one, Miova Mazoka, says, on CDF, why don't you consider empowering the youths that you train on CDF bursary, the new giving on clubs that have already defaulted? Candidate Daka Jr., I can't wait for tomorrow. We appreciate, and Alec Murikelela Mushekwekwa also should, the president should also look into the issue of volunteers in the health sector or Ministry of Education. We appreciate the government for CDF on the youth sponsored by CDF. Why don't you give capital so that they can have something to do? Can't wait for tomorrow. That's Chembe Kaluela, and the other one says we are listening. Quick comments, maybe Mr. Mimba, you can comment. No, we are getting to the tail end of the program. I have about less than 5 minutes to end up.
Thank you so much. I've seen a couple of messages talking about the need for the president to motivate the teachers, even if he's addressing the nation tomorrow. I think that is very important. Our teachers present are doing so much for the nation, and in most cases under difficulties. So it would be really important for the president to come up with a package for the teachers and probably say, okay, look, our men and women in uniform now are decently accommodated in most cases, and that is motivation. So even in this case, the president can come up with a strategy in terms of how the housing units for teachers can be constructed so that when they are leaving for work, they feel dignified, that their humanity is intact, because these are people that have carried the country on their shoulders. Every profession depends on them, and then motivation is of essence.
Yeah, I think also on the issue of motivating teachers, the issue of accommodation in most schools, I think it's something that can be handled by the PS, because most of the houses that we have in different schools, they are occupied by retirees. I think there's something that needs to be done, because we have got some of these young men who are supposed to be accommodated in those houses, but yet you find them, others coming from Kanyama, yet he's teaching in Kawat. I feel that we need to find a solution to this issue, so that we can resolve some of these issues. Then there was another issue that was capacity among those youths that we've sent to various skills training centers. For instance, Kawata has trained over 2,500, and I totally agree with you. We really need to start now building capacity, ensure that we give them loans so that they are the ones now who should start either making some of these days and actually building some of these infrastructures that we're talking about using the Conscious Development Fund.
All right, as we come to the end of today's presentation of the countdown to the official opening of the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, which is tomorrow at 10 hours here at Parliament Grounds. What would you want to see as NUPES in tomorrow's address?
Of course,
under a minute.
The President talking about how the revised curriculum is going to be implemented going forward, so that the glitches that are there do not show their faces again. We talk about how the teachers are going to be motivated through the issue of opening up positions in schools, upgrading them, and of course ensuring that there's a promise. I know the salary can't be just specific for the teachers, but for all the public service workers. So even as we get into 2026, we need at least a more motivating salary increase. We also are supposed to hear about more teachers being employed, as well as moving the number of feeding program, school feeding program, from where it stands now at 106 districts to all the districts, 116. Because we moved from 70 to 106. So we need in 2026 to have all the districts catered for, to address issues of hunger and malnutrition among the children.
Honorable, you represent the good people of Kabwata constituency. What is it that the people of Kabwata are looking forward to in tomorrow's address by the African President?
Before I touch on the issues of education, let me say this. I expect His Excellency to dwell much on the issue of energy, especially the issue of electricity, which is actually affecting this country. I expect the President to come up with policies and solutions that will address this challenge. I know we've done well in terms of reducing fuel. I know we've done well in terms of food production. Last year we had a great bumper harvest. But I think the challenge that we have, the big elephant in our room now, is the issue of ZESCO. If there are people that feel that they cannot work, because even the issue of just following the load management schedule, it seems that we still have some challenge. There are other areas that go without electricity. So if there are other people who feel that they cannot work properly at ZESCO, I think we really need to do something and see that the Zambians are saved from this nasty situation that we are faced with. Then what I expect also the President to do is, I know my brother is able to talk about the teachers, but let's talk about the product that the teachers are going to produce, the students or the pupils. Yeah, we need to give them quality education. So I expect the President to increase the Constituency Development Fund so that we can provide better learning facilities for our children, improve the infrastructure within our communities, then also improve on the number of teachers that will be recruited. I believe this year the government is supposed to employ almost about 2,000 teachers. Next year we expect a good number of teachers who should be employed. And also in the health sector, I expect the President also to give policy direction on how best some of those trained health personnel who have been trained for the past 5 years and yet they are not employed.
Okay.
So I believe the President will be able to give direction.
And Honorable, you have a very tight schedule today in your constituency, but let's accommodate just 3 text messages as we conclude today's presentation of the official countdown of the opening of the 5th session of the 13th Assembly. The other text message, the first text message comes from Gaddafi in Chawama. Good morning, Parliament TV. I'm worried about misrepresentation of some constituencies which don't have a representative in Parliament. Why are some MPs absent? Why are we are tired of this, and let the Speaker and Parliament do something over absentees. Thank you so much, Gaddafi, for your text message. The other one reads, why are teachers at Katimamulilo Secondary School not accepting learners who come back to school? Who came back to school this year? It's coming from the name there is gone. I couldn't see the name. Morning. I do enjoy Parliament TV. Education is the key to success, but the ministry should look over the issues of recognizing institute, because people do spend, but at the end of they spend to the institute which is not recognized by the ministry, Mulemba from Lusaka there. Wonderful topic, watching you within Lusaka, Chris K. Thank you so much, Chris K. Yeah, I mean, respond to those because I'm looking and my director just told me that we need to do this presentation. Honorable, all over your constituents, and today you were just telling me, Offset, that you have an important assignment that you need to undertake this morning. I must say thank you so much for finding time and being with us on this platform.
You're welcome, my brother.
Mr. Muyumba, always a pleasure having you, and wishing you all the best as you continue following through what is happening in the education sector and also empowering the teacher out there. Thank you so much.
Much appreciated.
All right, there you have it. Hope and trust you've enjoyed today's presentation of the official countdown of the official opening of the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, which is scheduled to be opened tomorrow by the Republican President. We know that your expectations are very high, and we could only do this much today, and we've been looking at different sectors. Yesterday we looked at another sector, and today we thought of looking at the education sector. My guest on today's program, I had Mr. Andrew Tayengwa, Member of Parliament for Kabwata constituency, and Mr. Victor Muyumba, who is Executive President from the National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPEZ. My name is Paul Ndovi. On behalf of my entire production crew, I would like to say let's be together tomorrow at 8 hours when we open the station as we bring live the proceedings that will be happening. It will be pomp and splendor here at Parliament, and the climax of tomorrow's program is the address that the President will make to the nation. And let's tick, and who knows, next week we may look at what the President's pronouncements will be after tomorrow. God bless, and thank you so much for your time.